Welcome to Lunchtime Movie Critics, the brief weekly podcast that introduces listeners to some of our favorite fun, funky, and fantastic feature films. Where to begin with Rubber, the 2010 cinematic gem that rolls, quite literally, into the absurd world of sentient tires. This film, directed by Quentin Dupieux, is like a fever dream of a rubber tire, and no, I'm not pulling your leg, or should I say your wheel, so buckle up, or should we say check your tire pressure, as we dive into this tread of madness. The story of Rubber revolves around, a rubber tire named Robert. You heard that right. Robert isn't your average Michelin or Goodyear product. He's got psychic powers and a temper hotter than a burnout on a summer day. The film rolls out in a Californian desert where Robert, emerging from the dirt, discovers his telekinetic ability to make things explode. Mostly animal and human hits, because why not? The narrative isn't just about Robert's rolling rampage. We have an audience within the movie, armed with binoculars, watching this tire's tale from a safe distance. It's like watching a movie within a movie, and it gets as meta as it sounds. This layer adds a peculiar angle to the entire viewing experience, making you wonder, am I watching the movie, or am I watching people watching the movie? Obviously, Robert steals the show. He's a tire with depth, complexity, and a murderous rage, a combination you never knew you needed. But let's not overlook the human characters or the onlookers, who provide commentary that ranges from bizarrely philosophical to hilariously mundane. There's also the sheriff, who spends half the time reminding everyone, including himself, that none of this makes sense. His monologue at the beginning, declaring that things in movies happen for no reason, sets the tone for the film's surreal nature. Dupieux does more than just roll the camera. He creates a visual spectacle that's as quirky as the film's premise. The cinematography is surprisingly beautiful for a film about a homicidal tire. The vast, empty desert landscapes juxtaposed with the bizarre sight of a tire rolling on its own creates a visual that's as hypnotic as it is ludicrous. The use of slow motion during Robert's telekinetic acts adds a dramatic flair to the tire's explosive temper. Pun intended. It's almost poetic, in a rubber-burning, head-exploding kind of way. The soundtrack, it's the unsung hero of Rubber. From suspenseful tunes that build up to Robert's head-popping shenanigans, to the more serene tracks that accompany his lonely journey across the desert, the music in this film is like the cherry on top of a very strange cake. Rubber is funny, not because it tries to be, but because it simply is. The sheer absurdity of the plot, combined with the deadpan delivery of lines and the surreal scenarios, makes for a comedy that's unique. It's the kind of humor where you're not just laughing at the jokes, you're laughing at the whole idea of what you're watching. Rubber is not your typical horror comedy or thriller. It's a blend of all three with a heavy dose of absurdity. It's like watching a car crash. You know it's bizarre and kind of wrong, but you can't look away. To sum up, Rubber is an experience. It's not just a movie, it's a journey into the absurd, a ride into the surreal, and a testament to the idea that in the world of cinema, anything, even a story about a psychic tire, can find its place. So, if you're in the mood for something that defies logic, laughs in the face of convention, and takes you on a wild ride you never knew you needed, give Rubber a spin. Just remember, in the world of sentient tires, it's best to keep an open mind, and maybe a spare tire, just in case.